The Blue Umbrella Mystery. It was in the third week of November, when a London fog clung to the lamps like gauze, that I found Mr. Holmes in a mood of singular animation. The coal in our grate had fallen to embers, yet he paced the sitting room at Baker Street as though the warmth of his own thoughts were sufficient. He had built a fortification of cigar ash upon the mantel, and beside it lay his violin, mute for once. The morning paper, folded to a single paragraph, bore the headline of a river accident. Holmes had underlined it twice, as if daring fate to repeat itself. "Pray, Watson," said he, stopping before the window, "tell me what you make of this." He held out a lady's umbrella, blue silk, the ferrule of silver, the handle of black horn worn smooth by anxious fingers. It had been folded with care, but a patch near the ribs was stained a dull brown. "It is a trifle," I answered. "A woman has mislaid her property." Holmes's eyes gleamed. "And yet it has walked through mud, knelt upon stone, and been held above a man who did not wish to be seen. Observe the grit upon the tip, river sand, not street. Smell it." A faint odor of tar and citrus rose from the fabric. "Docklands," I ventured, "and orange peel?" "Excellent. Now consider the stain. Not blood, it is rust from a chain. And note this thread caught in the hinge, coarse green from a naval sack. Our owner is no mere lady." At that moment Mrs. Hudson ushered in a client, Miss Eleanor Hart, pale and resolute, with rain upon her cloak and indignation in her chin. "My brother has vanished," she cried. "He is a clerk at the Southwark Bank. He left yesterday with an umbrella like that, and this morning a note arrived. Pay or he sinks." There was no signature, only a drawing of an anchor. Holmes leaned forward. "Your brother's habits, Miss Hart. He is punctual, sober, and terrified of water," she said bitterly. "Which makes the threat cruel." Holmes smiled slightly. "Cruel, yes, and careless. The writer fears the river, too." We drove at once to Southwark, where the bank's manager produced a ledger and a trembling confession. A sum had been moved from a dormant account to one newly opened under the name of C. Crane. "A seabird," Holmes murmured, "and an umbrella of blue." The trail led us to the wharves at Rotherhithe. There, among stacked barrels and shouting porters, Holmes paused beside a length of chain that disappeared into the water. Upon its links was the same orange and tar scent. "Lantern oil," he said, "cut with bergamot to mask it. A gentleman who plays at being a rough man." He stooped and lifted a small object from the slime, a brass button stamped with the crest of the Blue Swan Club. "That is in Pall Mall," I said, "for yachtsmen and idlers." "For men who admire yachts," Holmes corrected, "and require others to pay for them." Within the hour we were admitted to the club, where Mr. Percival Gage, secretary and amateur sailor, received us with offended civility. He wore a greenish sackcloth scarf, poorly chosen to suggest dockside labor, and he kept his right hand in his pocket as though nursing a bruise. Holmes's voice was mild. "You have lately handled a rusty chain, Mr. Gage." Gage's eyes flickered to the umbrella in Holmes's hand. "And you have lately lost," Holmes continued, "a brass button torn away when your scarf caught in an umbrella hinge. You wrote your note by lamp, and your ink blot tells me your hand shook. Not from cold, but from fear." "Fear of what?" Gage sneered. "Of drowning," said Holmes, "which is why your victim is not in the river at all." We hurried to the club's boathouse, where Holmes rapped upon a locked door. From within came a muffled cry. A moment later the lock yielded to Holmes's slender knife, and we found Mr. Hart bound to a bench, very much alive and thoroughly outraged. Gage, confronted with his failure, made for the window, but Holmes caught him by the wrist and drew it from his pocket. The bruise upon his knuckles was fresh. The smell of bergamot was stronger there. "You cannot play the dockman," Holmes said, "when your hands have only ever held a pen." Later, as the police led Gage away, Miss Hart clasped my hand in gratitude. Holmes, however, examined the blue umbrella once more and handed it back with a little bow. "You see, Watson," he remarked, "it is never the great crimes that are most ingenious, but the small ones that think themselves safe beneath an umbrella."